Hello, everybody, and welcome back to NCAA 2004. We are at the end of our season, year number 7. Can you believe it? We're already 7 years into the Bama series. This is episode 60, as crazy as that is. We are national champions. We've won our second national championship in the Nick Saban era here. It's our third time going and our second victory. And now we're going to look over the stats of this historic season here. As Stephen Bentley throws for 4,700 yards and 47 touchdowns and only 8 picks. Oh my God, dude, he protected the football so much better than Tim Lewis did, even though they both had pretty remarkable 4,000-plus yard seasons. I mean, just amazing, amazing seasons from our two starting quarterbacks who we've had come through here, man. We are just an amazing place to develop quarterback talent. It's just amazing. It's amazing to see. Christian Mitchell doesn't even crack that 1,000-yard mark. I was really hoping for more from him in his senior year. Unfortunately, he can't do it here. Still a decent year, you know. Average is less than 5 yards. It's not really great, but 7 touchdowns is pretty decent enough. Marquise Houston, our fullback, even has a nice season for him by his standards, I would say. Scotty Mitchell has his best season as a member of the Crimson Tide, with over 1,400 yards, just gets that extra yard to get him over the hump, and 18 touchdowns, good Lord. Jody Quinn has not as good of a year as I thought he would have, but he cracks the 1,000-yard mark, which is perfectly fine. 21 yard at average in 9 touchdowns. Very good season for him. Thomas Samples even has a pretty decent year in his sophomore year. We kind of like that from a sophomore who's third on the depth chart here. Sean Watts has an amazing year as a tight end, getting himself All-American honors. I thought maybe he would get a little bit more honors here with 9 touchdowns and averaging 18.9 yards a reception, but no. Colin Lynch has a great year for us at center in his senior year. Trey Gilmore also has a pretty good year in his junior season. Antoine Bracey, another great year. Antonio Watkins has a good year, but Charles Gregory, not the best year. He gets on a little bit, but our starting 5 here on the O-line does very, very well. George Leon finishes with 66 tackles. Pretty much has the same season he's had for 4 years. Nothing really super remarkable there, but does get 10 TFLs, which does not lead the team. Pete Barron actually would lead the team in TFLs with 11. But he doesn't really produce much outside of that. He does have 6 sacks, which is impressive. But Kellen Cunningham also has 6 sacks, which is a little bit better here. So our defensive line not generating a lot of pressure on the quarterback, which we've seen all year, really. But Nat Hoover leading the team with interceptions at 5. And then John Bellamy has a great year kicking for us in his sophomore season, so he's on the uptick here. He's probably going to get a pretty big boost statistically, so that would be great to see. But here's your final look at the SEC standings for year number 7, as us and Arkansas kind of lead the charge. And there's a nice little padding of good teams, not great teams, between Vandy to South Carolina. Auburn is kind of that little middle threshold, like the hamburger in the middle of the sandwich. And then after that, it's a complete fall off, where just the SEC is just awful. Florida and Georgia end up winning a handful of games, but they had terrible years in conference. Mississippi State somehow scrubs out 1 win. I don't know who they beat, but 1 win only. Here's a look at the SEC West. It's a lot more congested like it was last year, but Vanderbilt somehow ends up on top. And then the SEC West, it's definitely the haves and have-nots here. LSU kind of threw their hat in the fray, but they completely spun out of control after we beat them at the end of the season. They just could not recover. So in the top 25 poll here, we sit atop Miami at 2, Southern Miss at 3. Pretty typical names here. Notre Dame throws their hat in, Texas at 5, Colorado State at 6. Maryland drops all the way to 7th after losing to us. Arkansas moves up to 8 after winning their bowl game. Ohio State drops to 9th after losing theirs. West Virginia rounds out the top 10. UCLA, Iowa, Nebraska, TCU dropping to 14, and Michigan moving up to 15 is your top 15. Oklahoma moves up to 16. Virginia Tech dropping all the way to 17. USC dropping to 18th, Nevada having a pretty decent year, scrapping one together to get up to 19th, and then Oregon at 20, and then Florida State at 8-6, Indiana 9-4, Oklahoma State at 7-6, Wisconsin at 8-5. What is this top 25? Minnesota at 7-6. What is this top 25, man? This is a terrible year all around for college football. It was just awful. But looking at our players leaving now, and Stephen Bentley is leaving, guys. He's a sophomore, and he's going to leave. Now, he's leaning towards leave. And we are maxed out on recruiting points, so I'm going to throw some points at him to try and keep him here, but he's leaving after just his sophomore season. He wants to leave. I don't know if he's graduating or if he's trying to transfer. It's not like the old-fashioned transfer portal, so he can't just go somewhere else. He'd have to sit, so I'm guessing he's going to declare for the draft early. I didn't even think you could this early, but I guess he's going to try. Looking around the rest of who's leaving, it's a small class here, but it's all very important people. Rick Sloan, Nat Hoover, Kenneth Jenkins, George Leon. I mean, these are some of the biggest names that we've seen on our defense in the last couple seasons. seasons, and they are all leaving. So it's not a massive class that we have leaving, but we are losing quite a bit of production. And losing Stephen Bentley right now would be catastrophic. I think we have horses in the stable at quarterback, but still, man, after a 4,700-yard season and 44 touchdowns, I mean, 48 total touchdowns, I can't even imagine losing that production right now. But we're going to move ahead, I guess. He's not going to stay with us. It didn't tell us that he was going to stay, so he's going to be gone, we have to assume. But looking over recruiting here, we have the number 3 center in the country, the number 7 defensive tackle, number 2 tackle, number 6 defensive tackle, number 3 guard, the top free safety in the country, which is huge after losing Rick Sloan. We really needed that. We also get the 4th middle linebacker, maybe to replace George Leon potentially in the future here. We get a couple of quarterback prospects as well, some top QB prospects, and I also tried to target some other areas that we lost with graduations, like tight end because of Sean Watts and stuff like that. But again, we have depth on the roster. We probably aren't even going to use half of these guys, but I just wanted to kind of reload the roster where I could. So we lose out on the number 1 center in the country because we already got one. I didn't feel we needed to go after him, so we were also in the 2nd and 3rd QB, so I kind of let the 4th QB go to Texas, and then we lose the number 1 tight end who I did want to Notre Dame. He ends up committing there, but we were in on him for like a week or so. He committed pretty quickly. Ronnie Nolan, another cornerback prospect that I wanted at number 5, he ends up going to Ohio State. Bo Bowen, I also wanted, a top receiving prospect. He goes to Miami. Now, a lot of the teams that we're losing recruits to are some of the biggest teams that we're going to be fighting with every single year, as we lose Jonathan Sherman, another receiving prospect in Michigan. We lose the 10th receiver in the country, Jason Dale, to Vanderbilt. And then the number 3 tight end, who I also wanted, ends up going to Southern Miss. We lose Lamar Cody, the number 6 middle linebacker, to Florida State. So you can see kind of where we lost out, where I was targeting. But we still have the best recruiting class, again, for like the 7th year in a row. I think maybe the first year was the only year we didn't have it, but we might have. I'd have to go back and check. But we've been the top every single year. This year I actually did try to load our class with 5 stars because I was afraid that our team might start losing some steam here in the next couple seasons. But Nevada, who had a great year, still in the top 10 of recruiting. That's interesting to see. You're not seeing a whole lot of SEC teams here in the top 25 of recruiting. Maryland, who we just beat in the national title game, is at 16. Arkansas, one of the first SEC teams I've seen, is only at 19. Vanderbilt comes in at 21, so we might see Vandy continue their progress through their years of being good. And then Oregon rounds out the top 25 in recruiting. So kind of an interesting top 25 list. We might be starting to see some turnover in college football. It might be time for that after a rough year last year in year number 7. We might be seeing some change in the top brass. Maybe it's possible. But taking a look at our training results here, we have a lot of breakthroughs, a lot of important breakthroughs, getting a majority of our roster up to that high 80 to low 90 mark here. And we even have some guys who are in the higher 90s. Scotty Mitchell, as you can see, is up to a 99 overall. Can you believe that? Up to a 99. Jesse Allison, who I think is now going to be our starting quarterback because we lose Stephen Bentley, is up to a 93 overall. So I think Stephen Bentley was a 93 or 94. So we're not really losing, from a talent perspective, we're not losing a ton of production here. But the type of prospect that Stephen Bentley was, man, the way he protected the football, that was just so crucial to this offense, because that was Tim Lewis's biggest weakness, was throwing a ton of interceptions, and we were able to kind of fix that with Stephen Bentley. So now I don't know what we're going to get with Jesse Allison. We're just going to have to wait and see. So I forgot to record the depth chart here, or press record, when I was going through here. So we're going to get this first. It's out of order. We're going to see it in a second. But this is our schedule heading into year number 8, the out-of-conference schedule. We'll talk about it in a second here when we get to the Washington, when we end the video here. But Jesse Allison's going to be our starting quarterback at 93 overall. J.J. Wright, only an 81 overall here. We saw some good things from him at the end of last season, but he's going to be our starting running back. Marquise Houston is a senior. He's a 96 overall fullback. Scotty Mitchell up to a 99 at top receiver. Thomas Samples up to an 89. Jody Quinn now getting passed out by Thomas Samples at an 89. And then Price and Solomon sitting behind. Carl Mann, an 88, is up. He's our starting tight end, replacing Sean Watts. He's a senior. Antoine Bracey back for his senior year at left tackle. Trey Gilmore for his senior year at left guard. Carlos Gregory his senior year at center. Matt Marsh is a junior. He's up to a 92. He's going to be at right guard. And then Jimmy McKenzie is going to be our starting right tackle. Pete Barron is going to start at the left end at 98 overall. Blaine Bolden on the left side, or right side rather, and then Kellen Cunningham is going to be your top defensive tackle. Tremaine Jackson behind him, and Rick Hobbs at third as a freshman. T.D. Dixon is going to start on the left side, and of our linebacking core here in the middle, we're going to have Dominic Witten, and then on the right side, we're going to have Pat Burks start for us here as a sophomore. At DB, we have Harold Frazier up to a 93. Behind him is going to be C.J. Bennett at an 84. We have a backup strong safety, Taylor Kennedy. He's going to be third. Desmond Hammond is going to be at fourth, or Hastings is going to be at fourth, and then Fabian Schmidt is going to be fifth as a freshman. So we have some depth there. Mario Hughes is finally going to start as a senior at free safety, and then at strong safety, we have Isaac Tyler, who's up to a 99. So him and Scotty Mitchell, a couple 99s on the roster. I don't think there's anyone who's really even close to that. Don Bellamy has a breakthrough. He's up to an 85 kicking. So, but that is how the video is going to end here. We're going to be playing Washington in Washington to start year number 8. We're also playing Ohio State in the shoe this year, as I've discussed with one of my commenters. So it's the big game for this year. So I hope to see you guys when we start our season in Seattle playing the Washington Huskies out of the Pac-10.